This is Real Talk with Brendan Bardick, where we'll be talking about the latest real estate strategies, scripts, top producing techniques, and everything you're going to want to know about how to be an elite real estate agent or real estate coach, or just a great business person. So I am Brendan Bardick. I am the owner of the Bardick Group at Keller Williams, currently the number one real estate team in the beautiful city of Denver. I am also the owner and operating principal of Keller Williams Integrity, where we have about 200 fantastic brokers that are some of the best in the industry. And then I also have Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching, where our mission is to train the most elite real estate agents on earth, right? And so with that process, for me to be able to do a number of different things, I had to be very dialed in to understanding a couple main principles: systems and models. And goal setting is just a system and a model that we can use to get us where we want to go. It's going to be our map to really figure it out. So the mindset piece that I wanted to start out with today is to make sure that everybody understands very clearly that what I'm going to teach you today can work for any business, any system. I don't care if you sell cupcakes, you sell real estate, you sell mortgages, whatever it is, these same principles will all apply to your business. So to be able to understand that, the problem that we have as business professionals is, as you've heard the analogies, we spend more time planning our vacation than we do our business goals and our business life. You'll sit there and you'll be on Travelocity or TripAdvisor for 19 hours, making sure that you can get the best hotel for the cheapest price for all of this. But very few people will spend an hour and a half a year to plan out their entire business future. Think about that. They won't spend an hour and a half a year to plan out their life. So in looking at that, first of all, I commend each of you for being on this, because you're making the decision to say, hey, look, the first part of this year was kind of weird and wacky, and we had a bunch of weird stuff happening, and still we're not out of the woods yet. But I'm going to make the decision to put all of that nonsense to the side and be dead focused on my success and my goals and what I want for myself and for my family. And I'm going to make sure nothing can stop me. So to dive into that, the first thing we have to understand is that your business is not unique. Everybody comes into real estate, their business, and they're all like, look, you don't understand, Brendan. I coach a lot of people. Brendan, just the other day, I had a conversation, and we'll just say her name is Sally. Sally goes, Brendan, you don't understand my business. You don't get exactly how my business works. I go, okay, well, you are in the business of selling properties, correct? You sell homes in one form or fashion, yes? Well, yeah, but you don't get how we do it. I go, but your end goal is to sell homes. Yeah, but you don't get how we do it. Okay, but your end goal is that you get paid for the exchange of services, for you to provide a service for that sale to happen. Well, yes. Okay, well, if we start with that, then we know that every other metrics is the same as any other business. We have to, whether you're selling cupcakes, if I'm selling cupcakes and I'm in the cupcake business selling industry, I need to know how many cupcakes I need to sell to make as much money as I want to make. Then I need to know how much profit I need to make from the sale of each cupcake. That's pretty much the simple thing. So how many people do I need to come into my cupcake store to buy my cupcakes? That's what we're going to be doing today, is making sure you have a laser-focused 5-point plan that will make sure you accomplish exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. So very interesting today. And this is the thing where I commend you guys so much for taking this step. This Zoom that we're on, we have 62 people on it right now. Last week, we had over 300 people attend how to do a CMA. 300 people want to learn how to do a CMA. 62 people want to learn how to have a successful business. Do you see the breakdown in the mindset there? Everybody's looking for a diet pill. Everybody's looking for that little pill. But the people on this call today are looking to be successful business people. So I can't tell you enough how amazing you are for being on this, because that's what it's all about. So let's jump in. Let's dive into this. Let's get excited about making 2020 the best year ever. Every year after that, the best year ever. But we're going to crush the rest of this 2020. I'm going to explain exactly how. So I'm going to jump into my beautiful PowerPoint here. All right. So reset, refocus, restart. All right. We already talked about who I am. What I always start out with too is just so people understand, I started out as a real estate assistant making $8.80 an hour for a top producer. That's where I started. Did that. Then I became an agent on her team. Then I became an agent on my own. Then I started my own team. And here we are today. So I've been through almost every piece of this sales business. I've seen it from the inside, the outside, individual, team owner, brokerage owner. And it all came back to the same thing that I've witnessed over the last 18 years. Every successful person basically follows the same exact model. They have visual written goals that they look at almost every single day, and then they tweak everything to hit those goals. That's the spoiler alert. Okay. Now, the people that are really successful at it do really cool things and have tricks and strategies that make it kind of fun, which is what I'm going to try to bring to you today. So let's jump in and go with the first piece of this is, in order to have a clear vision, we have to understand, where are we going? So with each one of our individual businesses, and everyone on here, whether you see it or not, you're an individual business owner in some form or fashion. I know right now we have people from the mortgage industry on this. We have people from the interior design industry on this. We have people that are assistants. We have people that are director of operations. At the end of the day, you all have an individual business. You're just working inside of a different model. You're still your own business, and you have your own business goals that you're trying to accomplish. So at the end of this, first we have to decide where we're going. So we want to make sure, hey, is it that I want to put $40,000 a year away in personal savings? Do I want to own a boat? Do I want to have 4 vacation homes? We have to start with what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. And what's that big motivation? Do I want to donate $70,000 a year to charity? Right? That's my target goal for this year. Personally, $70,000 to charity. Right? So if we're looking at that, what gets you up and lights that fire every single day? Because if you don't have that, getting dumped on every day by cranky clients, you're going to lose focus pretty darn quickly. So we want to start out with, first, what is your 1 year big financial goal? Okay. So think about that. What is my 1 year? And the reason I'm doing a 1 year is because right now with this reset button, the year right now starts July 1st. Everything in June doesn't really matter because all of your things from June already happened in April and May. So June is now your first chance to really make sure that the next 6 months is going to be the way that you want it to be and that you're going to have the outcomes you want. So if we're looking from July 1st of this year to July 1st of next year, what's that one financial goal, that one big why you want to accomplish? So take a moment, write that down. So Anna, let's just go with yours. Anna, what's your 1 year big financial goal?
So in the next 12 months, I would like to purchase my first investment property.
Excellent. That's a great one. Okay. So Anna wants to purchase her first investment property. Wonderful. All right. So now she understands what she's driving towards. Some of us, it might be school debt. Some of us, it might be my first car. Well, not your first car. Hopefully you have a car right now. It might be a better car. Some of you, it might be financial freedom. So savings account, all these different things. But what we need to do is identify that. All right. So hopefully everybody has that written down. If you want to share and have maximum accountability, throw it up in the chat box for me, right? Let me see that chat box come through. The more people that know about what your big financial goal is, the more likely you're going to have success, right? Everybody's got to know about it. You've got to talk about it every day. You've got to make every single piece of it. So if your financial goal was to sell, let's say 50 homes, right? You need to put that number 50 into everything. It needs to be in your passwords. It needs to be your lockbox code. Your lockbox code better be 5050, right? 5050, right? Everything you're thinking about every single minute of every single day has to be that number. Now people, they go, but here's the little devil on your shoulder. You go, but Brendan, my business is different. Okay, so let's say that you're an interior designer. You get paid for selling a number of different services to a certain amount of clients. Now, one client, just like our industry, could be a $5 million home. One client could be a $100,000 property. But at the end of the day, if you look at the averages, you need to have a number of closed, signed agreements, invoices, if you will, that gets you a certain amount of money that produces those results. So to do that, identify the big why. All right, perfect. So now on your piece of paper, at the top of that piece of paper, you have my big 1-year financial why, which is excellent. All right, then the next, we have to really dive in and understand what the difference is between a goal and a commitment. Every day you hear, oh, I got goals. Cool, goals are so great. You know, I set my goals. I'm really into goals. Well, a goal is completely pointless if you're not willing to commit to doing the daily, weekly, monthly activities to accomplish that. So the goal is an outcome that we set the target for. So my goal is to have the most successful cupcake store on earth. That's my goal. I want to sell more cupcakes than anyone else on earth. That's my goal. My commitment is the inner fuel that drives me and guides me towards that goal. So that's, I have to do X, Y, Z to make sure I sell more cupcakes than anyone else on earth. That I sell more houses, more mortgages, more financial service packages, more interior design packages, more tax accounting packages. I do more taxes than the other person before me. Okay? So goal and a commitment, both are very important, but you can't have one without the other. Well, you can, it's just going to be pointless. All right? All right, cool. So creating your roadmap. So let's talk about it. You've got here on your paper, I want you to get super artistic, and I want you to draw your big why at the top, and then 5 beautiful boxes. Okay? So 5 beautiful boxes that are going to change your entire business. All right? Now, if you're not an artist, you can just try to draw a couple lines there, make sure it's 5 and separated. At the end of this, we're going to give you a really pretty sheet to put this all on, but I wanted to have you do this very, very artistic to start with, because it's got to be yours, and then we're going to make it look very clean. All right? So everybody has that. Excellent. So now on your paper, you have 5 boxes on the top, 5 boxes on the bottom, and a big line that says, my big why. Excellent. So now we've got to label those 5 boxes. So when you look at those 5 boxes, on the top right-hand box, you've got the sales volume you want to complete for the next 12 months. Volume. So if your goal is to sell 2 homes a month, and each home is $500,000 average sales price, then that would be what we're going to put in that box. And I'm going to show you that here in a second. Okay. The next box on the top row there, closings. So from working right to left, closings. Then in the middle, signed agreements. How many signed agreements do I have for my customers to get me the amount of closings to hit the sales volume that I want to have success with? Then I know I need to have X amount of appointments. So appointments held, meaning I've gone on the appointment, met with the client, and we either have a signed agreement or you decide not to work with them. Hopefully that's the case. Well, hopefully they have the signed agreement rather. And then contacts. A contact is a conversation about your business. So in real estate, it would be a conversation about buying or selling homes. In interior design, it'd be a conversation about me working with you to obtain the goal that you wanted. You know, this beautiful new, kitchen remodel, or this house, a guest house that I want to have built, whatever it might be, right? That's going to be, you have to have a number of those conversations to make that happen. On the top row, you have your actuals. And then on the bottom, you have your goals, what you're wanting to accomplish. All right? Pretty simple. So when we look at those boxes, that's how we're looking at it. Now, as you look at it, if you see the equation here, average sales price of whatever your product is. So again, if I was selling cupcakes, my average sales price might be $1 per cupcake. How many cupcakes am I going to need to sell $50 million of volume in cupcakes? It's the same thing with real estate. People get overly confused about this. So if your goal, again, is to sell $1 million a month in volume, pretty simple. 2 houses if your average sales price is $500,000. If your average sales price in your area or your brand new is $250,000, then it would be 4. Okay? If you're in $1 million market, it might be 1 if your goal is only to do $12 million a year in volume. So this sheet, just to be very clear, is for the month. We're going to work on this every month. So your volume goal will be divided by 12 for what you want to accomplish in 12 months. Your closing goal, how many units you've closed, contracts closed, whatever your business you're in, would be 12 months. Well, it'd be the year divided by 12 months, okay? All right, so in this example, so sign. Not every person you sign with actually makes it to the finish line. You engage them as a client, but they don't actually make it. So in our experience from tracking this from years and years and years and having everybody involved in it, we know that there's going to be some form of fallout. Now, here's where people get overly analytical on this. We need to start tracking what we're doing so we can really figure out what your true numbers are. What I'm going to give you today is not the golden rule of the history of Earth or what the numbers should be. It's a guide to show you what you have to decide for yourself. Then when we look at this in 3 months, because that's about the right time to revisit it, when we look at it in 3 months and you go, actually, for me, I needed to have 5 signed to have 2 closings. I needed to have 9 signed to have 2 closings. Maybe you need to have 2 signed to have 2 closings. This is what we've seen on average from doing this year after year, talking to all kind of top producers in the industry. This is the average for those conversion ratios, okay? So 3 to 2. Appointments held, you're gonna need to double that. So you're gonna need to go out and see twice as many people to get them to sign. So twice as many people to get them to sign. Because either you're gonna decide not to work with them, they're gonna decide not to work with you, they might not have been qualified enough, it might just not be the right fit, it's a personality. You go there and you're like, I could take on this client, but it's going to be brain damage working with this person. So I'm gonna say no to this one because it's not worth the money with the headache. All right, so 6 held to 3 signed. Your numbers might be different. And then the last one, how many conversations do I need to have every single week or every single month to produce those 6 appointments held? So if you love math, and I know we do all as professional salespeople, we're looking at 400 contacts. That means it's 200 contacts per every 1 closed deal. Now, people are on here right now going, that's crazy. I talk to way less people than that, and I sell 2 homes a month. Cool. Then what's your number? Right? What's your number? If yours is 50 people, maybe that's it. If you're really looking to amp it up, and you're going to really, and I'm going to show you the second part of this. So these are the 5 boxes, but we're going to get into the next part that fuels these boxes. This is the map. And then I'm going to give you the Ferrari that's going to get you there, right? So this is the map. I'm going to give you the Ferrari, the same one that I use every single day to get there, but this is the numbers. So any questions, Anna, on these numbers or on this process?
No, not so far. I want to make sure that everyone understands what a true contact is and what the difference is between an assigned agreement versus someone that's under contract. Can you explain that too?
Yeah, absolutely. So a contact is a conversation about buying or selling real estate. So if you call up your cousin and be like, yo, what's up? Hey, how'd you like that Netflix show? Oh, it was pretty dope, whatever. That is not a contact. That is a conversation with your cousin. Now, if you call up your cousin and in that conversation, you go, yo, and so what's up? Are you guys thinking about selling that place you got? What's the deal with it? Then yes, you could call that a contact. If you call up and you're outbound lead generating, you're cold calling, and somebody answers that speaks Spanish and you do not speak Spanish, that is not a contact. If you call up and the little kid answers the phone, he says, my mom's not here, that is not a contact. So it's a conversation. This is a sales industry. If I'm selling tax accounting services, I have to either attract enough people to be interested in me wanting to use my tax services, or I have to go to businesses and offer them, or individuals and offer them my services. We're going to talk about how to attract this and to get that contact number. When you start out, I think you would all agree, it's going to take a lot more conversations than it will if you've been doing this 10, 15, 20 years, if you did things right. So in the beginning, it might be 800 contacts to close 2 homes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you're new. You've got to fill your pipeline. You got to fill your database. Every day has got to be ground and pound, and you've got to be out there and serious. 87% of all businesses fail. I know the stats of 50% of all realtors, all this, forget all that. 87% of all businesses fail. And then the other, in my opinion, there's about another 5 to 7% that live on autopilot, that accept being average, that accept the fact that, you know what, I make enough. I'm okay. I'm fine. I want a work-life balance. I want a work-life balance too. I just want the other part of that balance to be very luxurious. I don't see anything wrong with that, right? I just don't see anything wrong with that. So we all have the same amount of time. I look at this every day and I go, Gary Keller has 180,000 agents, sells $1 kajillion of real estate a year. He's not any smarter than anyone on this Zoom. I can promise you that. He just followed a model and a system better than most. That's all. And he didn't make it. He took it from everybody else that was having success. The entire Millionaire Real Estate Agent book is based upon every other company on the earth, the success they had, looking at their systems and models and building off of that. That's all this is. It's a copycat game. And those who are better at it make the most. All right. So to do this, right now I can already see people, they're getting a hurt stomach. They're going, that word track, it might as well be literally, I just kicked you in the shin.
What a trigger.
I don't want to track. Right? It's a trigger. You go, oh, track, Brendan, that sounds like work, right? I understand, because it is. If you don't track your progress daily, if I wanted to lose 50 pounds and every day I didn't track my logs of my diet, my workouts, I would never lose the weight. I might lose it, but I gain it back. I might lose it, I gain it back. All of this does is takes these numbers, what you said you wanted to commit to, and this makes sure that you have a daily tool to help you with your inner drive to stay focused. That's what top producers do. You think if Usain Bolt, when he wants to win the 100-meter dash, you think he's looking at this and going, yeah, you know what? I'm going to show up today and I just think I'm going to run a little bit. Let's see how that goes. We'll see how that works. No, he has stopwatch, coaches, nutrition, training. He knows every single piece because it's a game of millimeters. In his end, it's a game of milliseconds, right? It's a game of milliseconds. This is what the top producers do. This is what top performers do.
So Brendan, on this tracking sheet, let's just dive into this a little bit more. I'm using this sheet to track my daily activities. And let's say I'm reaching out, having a conversation with a past client. Does that count as a contact if it's a follow-up?
Absolutely. Yeah, I got into this for a long time. People were like, is it only new conversations? Is it old conversations? Look, to make it as simple, if you call, think about it in your own business. If you called the same client 5 times a day, every day for 10 weeks, could you call each one of those a contact? Sure. If that person isn't qualified to buy, then that contact is pointless, right? You'd still want to track it. You could call this guy every single day, 5 times a day. If he's renting a house and doesn't want to buy, why are you calling him? So yes, it is a conversation, but that's why tracking is so important, because at the end of it, when we go back to this sheet, I can tell every single person I work with exactly what they need to work on just by looking at these 5 numbers. If you're doing 400 contacts and having 1 appointment held, you have a huge issue with scripts, dialogues, and conversion. You can talk to a lot of people, but you don't know what to say. If you're having a ton of contacts and a ton of appointments held, You're crushing it. You're doing 400 contacts, 30 appointments held, and you're still doing one signed. Then at the appointments, your presentation sucks. When you go there, people are disappointed. When you go there, you're not closing. When you're going there, you're doing all of those things, okay? If you're getting a bunch signed and they're not closing, you're listing properties overpriced. You don't know how to price properties accurately. You're working with unqualified buyers. You didn't set standards for your buyers and they're running you all over town. Do you see how this all works? But I can't do a diagnosis if I don't know what the symptoms are. Okay? That's what this is understanding and identifying where your little trigger points are that could be a game changer in your business. Small tweaks create giant leaps. That's all it is. That's all this whole game is. Small tweaks create giant leaps. But I can't help you if I don't know what you're doing. You can't help yourself if you don't know what you're doing. So fall in love with that word track. You have to get a positive kind of mindset with it of going, tracking means I make more money. Tracking means it's a good thing for me. So we're going to offer this sheet on our private Facebook group for all of you to download after this. You can customize it. You can play with this. But at the end of the day, here's one question that I always get. Brendan, why is there 144 calls on this sheet? Because I couldn't fit 165. That's the only reason. So there, solve that puzzle. Yours might be 50 on your little square boxes. You can create this however you want. You can put little sunflowers on it, little whatever, make it cutesy pootsy. Whatever you're into, get it done. I don't care, but this is what you've got to do. And then you keep it in a folder or put it into a spreadsheet. And then you would know all of your details for your business. Heavens to Betsy. Oh my gosh, I'm a business owner. What did I know? Okay. Or don't and just do this. Man, I have 2 closings, no closings, 4 closings, 0 closings, 1 closing, no closings. Enjoy the roller coaster the rest of your career because that's what you're going to go through is the real estate roller coaster. This is to build consistency and in fact, reduce stress and anxiety. That's all this comes down to. So when we break down this sheet, you've got calls, contacts, how long it's taking you to reach those things. You've got type. So if you look at that type section, you would fill that in and it would say expired for sell by owners, past clients, center of influence, networking, Zillow leads, whatever you're doing to produce business, that's what it would be. Your referrals, okay? That's what you would fill in. But you want to know where your business is coming from. So then you can spend more money on those sources in the future to make more money, right? So that's what we want to put into those boxes. Total contacts made, and then your bottoms are just your totals. And then I'm going to explain the met and haven't met bucket because that's the Ferrari that's going to get you to where you want to go. In every business, that's the Ferrari. Okay? So we now know 5 boxes make my whole world better. We know that I need to track my numbers to make sure that I know what my 5 boxes are so I can become a better business person, right? Now, if you're in our advanced coaching and you want to take it a step further, you could exchange and add a 6th commitment, which you could easily do. And that commitment box could be profit. Because you could have a boatload of volume, a boatload of closings, and be dead broke because you spend way too much money, right? I didn't want to scare people too much out of the gate with that number. So I just made these ones because first thing is you got to fall in love with this. Then we can talk about P&Ls, production, cost per lead, all that stuff. So you could have 6 boxes, right? You could take it to a 7th box and measure talk time. How long every day am I on the phone lead generating? If I'm doing 2 hours of lead gen a day outbound going, hey, you want to use my services? Hey, I'm a great agent. Hey, calling all my past clients. Hey, how long does that take you each day to do? And are you doing it scheduled per how many conversations you have? Then you know how much you make for every hour you work. Think how cool that would be. Every hour I know that I'm on the phone lead generating, I make $6,000. That helps light the fire to get you out of bed, okay? They're all ratios to play the mindset game to get you where you want to go. All right, so give me one takeaway, either unmute yourself or go in the chat box and give me one takeaway that you're taking from this thus far. Because again, learning without implementing is stupidity.
Yeah, and we started this call off. Everyone had some really big goals. It was really amazing to see. So I'm interested in seeing, now that we've provided the roadmap, what people are going to do with those big whys. So let's see what the chat box has to say. Defining what a contact is.
Got that?
Was clarifying.
Yep. So we got that. So does anybody, let me ask this, looking at these numbers, is anybody on here tracking their numbers now? Okay. All right.
Okay, a couple people. Yep.
Yep. All right. And I would think that the people that are not, and when I go through this conversation, the reason where we're not is we go, well, Brendan, I'm not at my desk all day with my sheet there. How do I do that? Well, Brendan, I'm all over the place driving and going on appointments and networking and doing all that. How in the heck could I possibly track my activities? It's very simple. It's very, very simple. You have a Padfolio. You keep it in your Padfolio. And as the course of your day, you do the same thing. If you wanted to go on a diet plan and you had to track calories, how would you track your calories? Same kind of thing. Okay. We're going to talk about an even easier simplistic process of visual goals here in just a moment. So Landon, I know I can see you for whatever reason, you're right next to my celebrity square. So Landon, what have you learned from tracking your numbers?
I know exactly where the discrepancies are. So I can hit my contacts, I can hit my numbers, I can get the appointment signed. I have one sign, but that's where I know the difference is. I can go on the listing presentations, but then actually getting the closed agreement. So then it isolates the fact that my closing skills aren't up to par, and that's what I need to focus on.
Well said, man. Well, great being honest.
Beautiful.
Give him a thumbs up or an applause, because right? That's exactly the whole piece of this, right? You've got to understand your conversions. You don't have to. You're just always going to ride that roller coaster then.
Our friend Scott Chambers in the chat box said, and I think this is really important, tracking helps me make more money, right? And to Landon's point, right? Nailed it.
Yeah, tracking helps me make more money. So, all right. So we're going to jump back because I want to stay right on time with everything. So let's go back to, there we go. All right. So if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening my axe, right? Abraham Lincoln. That's what this is talking about, what you're doing today. Instead of waking up every day in constant chaos and going, ooh, I don't have any closings set for July, I better start doing something. This takes away that anxiety. All you know is, look, if I have 50, 100, 20, 10 conversations a week about buying or selling real estate, I know that it turns into dollars, 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 which gets me my big why. And it gets me where I want to be and that freedom that feels like. Stop the roller coaster. That's all we're trying to do. Okay, so now, how to net $1 million, right? So with two simple buckets, how to net $1 million. All we're going to do is, this is the Ferrari. You have a map. Now you have commitments to yourself that you're going to make personally for yourself, that you're going to do to have success in this business. Okay. Now you're going to do that. Now we need to know how to have these conversations so I don't have to cold call and spend my whole life on the phone and do all of this. This is where these two buckets live and become the most important buckets of your life. So if you're an artist like I am, on your piece of paper, you're going to draw these two beautiful buckets. Can you see those, Anna? Are those in the picture? Good. She's on mute, but that's okay. You can see them in front of you. I just want to show how good I can draw. All right, if you look at those buckets, this is the entire business. I don't care what industry you're in. The right bucket, you have people, your target group that you haven't met, people that you are going to be targeting to, that you want to bring into your sales cycle to nurture, to produce a certain amount of business, okay? Then you have your MET database, which is the people that are in your database that you take care of, nurture, love on, call, hug, parties, wine, dinners, whatever it is that refer you business, that do business with you, that are basically your ambassadors, what we call core advocates, okay? Core advocates, they ride or die Anna, right? They're like, Anna, that's my girl. If I'm ever going to buy or sell a house with her, that's the person I'm going to do that with. If I called them up right now and I take your database and you said, well, I'll back this up for a second. People do this all the time. Right now, if you've already drawn this amazing illustration, and I hope you have, so you're just drawing two big buckets, okay? So if you're not sitting at your desk right now, you're going to draw two big buckets, the best that you can. On the left bucket, you're going to write on the bottom, you're going to split that bucket in half, and you're going to write the number 500 for right now. I'm just going to explain why. Then in the other bucket, you're going to put 4,000 in the haven't met bucket. So met bucket, haven't met bucket, 500 and 4,000, okay? Those are the exact numbers of what you need to have at an average sales price of $500,000 to net $1 million in real estate, okay? So 4,000 and 500. If your average sales price for your product, right, was $1 million, you would need 2,000 and 250. If yours was 250, you'd need 4,000 and 1,000, or excuse me, 8,000 and 1,000. Math, super fun. All right. You can apply this to any business, any industry, any single way. It's just a ratio, 50 to 1 in the haven't mets, 12 to 2 in the mets. Okay. And I'm going to explain the reasoning for that. Now, when I first learned this model, I was like, yeah, whatever, it sounds cool. Yeah, whatever, trying to sell a book. And then the more people I started working with, including myself, and started coaching and talking to, every person I would do this business with, that number almost always worked out, especially that met number. That met number worked out to almost exactly how much they made every single year. Now, some of you are going, Brendan, whoa, not me, sir. You're way off. I've got 10,000 in my met bucket. I got 10,000 in my database right now. 10,000, super easy. If I called all 10,000 people in your database right now, I picked up the phone and I called them, and I don't prompt them for any other question but this: who is your preferred real estate agent of choice? Would they immediately say your name? Would they immediately say your name? If you were a mortgage broker and I'm doing that same call, I call up your database, who's your preferred lender of choice? If they say Quicken, they're not in your Met database, right? Rocket Mortgage, they're not in your Met database, okay? So that's the real difference. Now, to add the third layer to this, so the first layer is they love you, they would do business with you or refer business to you. That's the first layer. Second, if I called them, they would tell everybody that you're the preferred person without being prompted. And then the third is that they're on a 33 touch client for life system. 33 touch client for life system. And to make that system as easy as possible, that's 12, once a month, you're emailing them something, a newsletter, a market report, how you doing, whatever it is. Once a month, you're emailing them something. Once a month, you're direct mailing them something. So we do this process, and I teach this in a whole other class called Market Your Way to Millions. But to make it as easy as possible, 12 mailers. I like to do half quirky, half informational. Something fun, so they love me. Something informational, so they know that I'm in business. And I alternate those month to month. So that's 24 touches right there. Then 4 phone calls to that database every year, to that person, to that nurture, to that client, to that person that I want them to know that I am the best agent on earth. I love them. I care about their life. I want to be in business with them. And that call can range from everything from, hey, I know you have those 2 darling little girls. Can I buy 6 boxes of Girl Scout cookies? What can I do to help your life? Hey, I know you're involved in that cancer charity. Yes, I hate running, but I will do the 5K. Can I get involved in your life? Yes, let's go rock out the 5K, right? So I'm involved with them. Also, I'm inviting them to my client events. I'm inviting them to my buyer seminars, my seller seminars. I'm trying to see if they want to build wealth through investing in real estate. So I mail them books. I mail them information that's going to help them grow their life because I know how much it's done for me. So this isn't a sales tactic. This is a relationship technique. But if you don't focus on it, I've had people go, well, Brendan, it just seems very like numbers based, and it's almost like, ugh, I just don't like it. I just like to talk to people and be a good person. I understand that. I'm just trying to make sure that you don't forget anybody and that you're growing. If you own a restaurant, my good friend David Fowler's on this call. David Fowler, if you would be so kind, could you tell him the phrase we talked about with the restaurant just the other day?
Yes, sir. We talked about opening up your own restaurant and having all your friends come in, and that's great and all, but your friends are not going to be the ones that are going to keep that restaurant growing and bringing you more money over the long period.
Exactly. We got to get new people to come and try our restaurant every single day, and then have them, thank you, David, and then have them fall in love with my fettuccine Alfredo with shrimp and mushrooms so they keep coming back. But if they come to my restaurant and they don't have a great experience, or I don't ever follow up with them again, they don't ever come back, right? So think about that. That's what we've got to be looking at this as, is that's why some businesses are exceptional and some businesses are average.
Well, because I think a really good business owner, right, Brendan, is most people think you're either a people person or a numbers person. Really good business owners are both. And it's a limiting mindset to think I'm one or the other, right? And when
Correct.
you can cross that bridge, a significant amount of opportunity opens up to you.
Yeah, and that's well said, Anna. And that's the point, is I hear this all the time, but my business is unique. But you don't understand. I do this, I do that, I do this. I understand, I'm with you. This is what top producers do. They take the very simplistic and make it visual and then track it and then tweak it to make sure that they can deliver the highest quality of service and build the best relationships on earth. Think about this in your own personal life. If I don't have date night with my beautiful wife every month, once a month, actually it's probably like every week, if I don't do that, then the relationship doesn't go so well, and then she's off dating some guy on a cruise ship. That's what happens because I didn't nurture that relationship. Don't let your Met bucket run away with the bartender on the cruise ship. You've got to have a system to nurture them. That's what this is all about. That's how this works, okay? So now the next question I get, why 12 to 2, Brendan? That makes no sense. For all the math people are like, why isn't it just 1 out of 6, right? Believe me, I get it, right? That's why I wanted to clarify it. Because for every 12 people in your database, they're going to do one transaction with you and refer you one piece of business. Okay? That's why it's 12 to 2. It's 2 pieces of business for every 12 people in that database, nurtured 33 times a year. And the one that we always don't want to do is those 4 phone calls out of that 33. Everybody's like, man, I do the best, all of this. You can have the best marketing, the best emails, the best mailers on earth. You don't make those 4 phone calls, complete waste of money. Absolute waste of money, okay? So now you've got your haven't met bucket. This is what we call our target group, right? This is the people that I'm marketing to attract into my beautiful spider web so they get sticky and then fall in love with me, and then I make them, I nurture them and they become a Met. So this could be 4,000 homes in Hilltop. This could be 4,000, whatever it is, targeted Facebook ads. But here's the trick. It's got to be the same group every single month receiving a message from you 12 times a year. Same targeted group 12 times a year receiving the same message. So let's just pretend that I'm an interior designer and I want to grow my interior design business. I'm going to be marketing, probably, depending on where I want to build that business, to a very wealthy clientele in a wealthy neighborhood with a once a month newsletter showing them what I've done for previous clients and how I've made their home so gorgeous and beautiful. and I can do the same for you. So I would send that first and start small. Send it to 100 people once a month for 12 times a year. Then you get more money, 200, 500, 5,000. That's how it works. Then they eventually call you up because they're home with COVID-19. Their kitchen sucks. They're so tired of having to deal with it every single time. And they go, you know what? I need to call her or call him up, have him come over. We got to do something about this darn kitchen. Then you become a Met. They stay in your pipeline. You nurture them 33 times a year with your 12, 12, 4, and 5. Oh, excuse me. I left out 5 touches now that I just realized that. I'm surprised no one called me on that. So 12 emails, 12 direct mails, 4 phone calls, and then 5 special touches. When I say special, this means Father's Day card, Mother's Day card, Valentine's Day card if you're kind of weird, New Year's Day card, whatever it is that you're going to send to them that's a little bit unique to you, okay? 4th of July, it could be their house anniversary when they bought a house with you. Hey, I can't believe it's already been 12 months, Susie and Joe. I was just thinking about you guys. I hope you're still loving your beautiful home in blah, 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 blah. Because without making it special, then it just feels robotic. So you still have to have special touches. It could just be 5 handwritten note cards to them, just say, thinking about you. Cool? So that's the 33, all right? Now, if you go, just run the numbers. You want to make 100 grand? Reduce the numbers, do the math. If you want to make 2 million, increase the numbers, do the math. Now, I know you had 504,000 in these buckets. I'd like you to draw 2 more buckets below those buckets. And now let's put in your target goals for the next 12 months for where those buckets are or where you want them to be. So in your Met bucket right now, and usually here's the answer I get. I go, well, how many do you have in your Met database? They go, about 100. And I go, if I called them all right now and asked them that question, how many would you have? About 40, right? And that's normal. That completely makes sense, right? So if you have 10 that you actually think would say your name when I make that call, start with 10. When I started, I had 0, right? Nobody. So I was like, okay, I got to fix this. I got to grow it. So let's first start thinking about where do you want that bottom number to be in the next 12 months? Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 250? 500? So I'd like you to put your real number in that bucket. Don't worry, we're going to make this all pretty. I know it's probably looking not as good as mine because that's an amazing bucket, but we're going to make it very pretty. Okay, so if we're taking this and I'm going, all right, for me, it's 100. And I want to start at least marketing to 500 people every single month on a 1x12 to get them into my beautiful spider web. Okay. So we've got that number. Now for your haven't met, how do you determine that? Well, here's the thing. If you don't have any money right now and you're just starting out, don't focus on the haven't mets yet. You want to start producing your haven't mets once you start having income. Start with door knocking, the phone, ground and pound, build up your mets. Then when you have the money, so every $10,000 check you get, out of that $10,000 check, you put 10% towards your haven't met bucket. Every $5,000 check you get, 10% goes to my haven't met bucket. That's what a business person does. I know a lot of agents that do 500 of these, or maybe not 500. They think they have 500. They have 100 true Mets, but they'll never spend any money on the haven't Mets because they're like, I'm just very thrifty. I don't want to spend any money. I can just do it all on this. Well, enjoy having a limited, because again, they feed each other. You can't have one. They both go, because what's going to happen? Your Mets, you're going to have 20 to 30% attrition in your Mets every year. Well, Brendan, what do you mean? I'm not going to have anybody leave my Met bucket. Oh, yes, you are. People will move across the country. People will get their own real estate license. People will get divorced, and then they're not going to use you because they have to use some other person. There's going to be 100 reasons why they're not going to be able to use you for some reason, and you hear it all the time. I can't believe so-and-so used, and I've been sending in my postcard every month for 5 years. That's okay. It's a numbers game. There's supposed to be attrition, right? That's the nice thing about it. Once you know that, you don't get all personal about it. You just go, cool, all right. Well, good thing I still have 300 other ones. Now I just got to keep feeding it. So you got to feed this business. This is all your business comes down to, are these two buckets. You live and die by them every single day, okay? So Anna, any questions on the buckets?
Not so far, but I did
Excellent.
provide the registration link for Market Your Way to Millions at the end of this month if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what we just went over.
Great. All right. So pro tips. I really want to dive into these pro tips, okay? When you look at these pro tips, and then we're going to jump into what your daily schedule looks like to make sure this all happens. If you're looking at this image, and I always say this all the time, if you've never flown first class, then you're okay with flying coach because you don't know any better. If you drive a Toyota Camry, nothing wrong with the Toyota Camry. If you've never drove a Ferrari or a Mercedes-Benz or something of a higher level or BMW or whatever it is, you go, Toyota Camry, pretty darn nice, pretty sweet. It's pretty nice. 97 Toyota Camry, you know, it's got that vinyl interior or that cloth interior. It's super sweet, right? What we're talking about is really dialing in this visual goal of going, I only want to fly first class. I only want to live this kind of lifestyle. Now, this isn't, people are like, Brendan's just greedy, all of this. I could easily have an image on here, and that's what people don't know is we do it all based upon a lot of charity, right? If you look at the most successful people, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, they're looking at it of going, they still fly in luxury jets. Don't you think for a second they don't? You haven't seen Warren Buffett chilling in coach, right? Like, you're not like, oh, hey, what's up, Buffett? Like, can I borrow your knife? No, that's not happening, right? But he still gives cajillions of dollars back to charity. You can have both. People get really upset about, well, Brendan, you know, greed. And it's not about greed. It's about quality of life. You only have 100 years on this planet. Why have to live with some guy leaning, squishing your knees when you don't have to? Right? I want to drink champagne in first class and stretch out. So fall in love with the idea of being average sucks. It's not okay. You got to get past that. That's something, that's a limited belief that someone put in your head early on. That's a limited belief that so many of us battle with every day. And I'm not saying I'm not in one of those people, right? I mean, again, I have a GED. I was incarcerated when I was a kid for years. I emancipated when I was 17 from a group home. I've been, you know, through the lowest of lows. I've had friends, you know, take their own lives. I've had horrible things happen to me, and I've done horrible things. And I still had to unlock that interpersonal power to understand that if I follow this model, it'll change my life. And I don't have to accept those things of the past. I don't have to accept just because I don't have this degree or that, or I don't have this privilege or that I'm limited by these things, or I'm too old to start now, or I'm too young, right? On this amazing thing right now, we have people that are 20 years old, and I know that there's people on here that are probably 65, 70, up into to those numbers old, not that it's old, of age, whatever you want to say. And the fact is, they're always learning. I love it at all parts. You're never too old. You're never too young. All this comes back to is being a constant advocate for growing and learning. All right. So do you want to fly coach, or do you want to live in first class? Do you want to give back tons of money to your charity, or do you just want to suck at life? It's your call. You get to decide every day. Okay. So we're going to talk about morning mastery here really quickly. And then we're going to talk about the schedule you're going to need to do this. We're going to talk about how you develop personal accountability and really build these correct habits and habit block. And then we're going to talk about coaching, and we're going to talk about what you're doing right now. Right now, you're receiving coaching. So congratulations. All right. So now that we know what we're going to be taking a look at, you should have your completed form. Now, here's the secret. Take this beautiful form that's on our private Facebook page that we're going to provide to you. You can see that. Laminate it, right? If you don't have a laminator, stop by Office Depot. That's why we provide this. This is an easy, simple one-page visual. And then when it's laminated, right, you've got the blank one. And all you do is you take your dry erase marker, not a permanent marker, which I've done and completely screwed one up. I did it this morning, funny on myself. And take a dry erase marker, real story, right? This is the permanent marker one I screwed up. So don't do that because I didn't read the label. Use a dry eraser marker and you're going to put your goals down here. And then every single week, you're going to take your finger and you're going to, don't lick it because of COVID, but you're going to take a paper towel and you're going to rub off the number of where you're at that week. And you're going to put in numbers of where you're at month to date. Then you're going to put this in front of you on your wall at your workstation, on your refrigerator. Heck, make 2 of them. Have it right above the toilet in the morning. Not above the toilet. That's kind of weird. Don't put it above the toilet. On your mirror in the bathroom. Somewhere where you can see it. It's osmosis. What you see the most, you become, right? So you need to make sure that you're dialing this in. You're brainwashing yourself with your numbers. It works. I promise you it works. But shake that little devil off your shoulder going, that's so stupid. I don't need to do that. That's so stupid. Right? So we're also going to have a challenge because I know that if I can get you hooked on this sauce, you'll love it. Right? So for every single person, we're going to be giving away a $250 Visa gift card. All you have to do is fill out your 5 commitments and your bucket goals. Post a picture of it on our public Facebook page, and you're going to be entered to win that $250 drawing. And I believe, Anna, we're doing that next Friday.
Yes.
All you have to do to win $250 is do what you should do for your own business. Put your commitments on there, and you will win $250. Cool? Okay. So, because I want you to do it. The first hardest step about this is just doing the first part, doing the first step. I believe Orlando is on this call, or my good friend Orlando. He did this. He took it. He posted a picture of it on his refrigerator. A game changer for him, right? That's the things we're talking about. All right. So if you see the below one, right, you have your big why, financial freedom, whatever it is, the more people that know what you're trying to accomplish, the more success you're going to have. So they all have to know. Be public about your goals. All right. Let's talk about morning mastery. So, Brendan, this all sounds great, but how on earth am I ever going to produce these numbers? Because I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to start. So I've developed a very simple morning routine that will help you dial in your objectives, okay? And we call it mastery. So the first piece, if you want to have massive success in 2020 and in the years to come, you're going to have to make some changes in your life. If you're not already hitting your goals, you're going to have to make some changes. That first change starts with, I've got to have more hours in the day to accomplish what I need to learn, become, and practice to be successful. So everybody calm down. If you wake up at 5 o'clock right now, you're probably okay. If you wake up at 7 o'clock, you're probably going to need to get up a little bit earlier to accomplish this. So meditation. So every morning, 4:30 a.m., alarm goes off, right? Do you think I enjoy getting up at 4:30? Absolutely not. I do now, but in the beginning, I hated it. I'd have a couple Crown and ginger ales the night before. I'm a little tired. I have so many jokes with all my buddies and all my friends, and I go out to happy hours, and then that alarm rings, and I'm like, oh, all right, here we go. Let's get back to it. And it's brutal. It's brutal. But then it got to become a habit. So meditation, and I'm going to give you some numbers on this too to really get the timing because I'm very analytical and I like to know the numbers. So meditation every morning for 10 minutes. I'm focusing my mind and I'm doing 10 minutes of morning meditation every single day. Now, me and Anna were just talking about this, Anna, and what we were talking about is as human beings, we have to create a safe spot for us to do this. And I didn't think this was true. I was like, I can just go sit on the couch and meditate. Yeah, no. You want to make this ritual a very sacred kind of part of your life that you'll come and fall in love with. So we were talking and Anna, I was like, well, where do you do this process, Anna? And she was like, sometimes on the back porch, sometimes on my couch, sometimes here, sometimes there. And I go, well, why don't we just tweak that a little bit and Could you make a dedicated area where you do this every single morning exactly the same way? How about this, to really trigger the part in your mind? If you create this nice environment, so I have this very comfortable chair, you can light a really nice smelling candle. And again, I'm not a nice smelling candle kind of guy, I think if people know me, right? But I'm training my brain to go, enjoying. I have my grandma's blanket that I wrap around me, my grandma-in-law's blanket that I wrap around me that makes me super snuggly because it's cold as heck in the morning. I put in my headphones and I go through 10 minutes of guided meditation to clear out all the chaos that's happening, especially right now, all the chaos that's happening right now. Got to focus. Next thing, 5 minutes of affirmations. So I take my phone, after my 10 minutes, I do 5 minutes of affirmation. I turn on the clock, the stopwatch. 5 minutes, I start telling myself all the things that I want to be my reality. Today I will get an offer on, today I will get this thing accepted. I'm the #1 agent in Colorado. I'm the greatest real estate coach on earth. I'm extremely good looking. That was a joke, right? But obviously I do tell myself that, right? And people love me and I'm a money magnet. I do say that one a lot. I know that one's cheesy. I don't care. I'm a money magnet. I'm a money magnet. I don't know where that came from, but apparently it's been working okay for me. So I'm not going to stop saying it, right? So you can go and look up, what are your affirmations? I attract talent. I attract the nicest and kindest of clients. My database loves me. I'm a successful business person. That's what you have to tell yourself. Because we're going to war every day at 7:30. I look at it as we're going to war in some form or fashion on our mind. People are going to trade. They're going to say no to me. Things are going to go wrong. Deals are going to fall apart. Clients are going to be upset because I forgot to put the dishwasher in there. So now I'm buying a damn dishwasher. All of these things are going to go sideways. Got to get our mind right. All right. Then to do this at a high level, we have to have scripts and dialogues. So 5 minutes of scripts every single day. So if you know that day you have to work on a price adjustment with one of your clients because they just won't get their price down, every morning for 5 minutes, I'm studying that price adjustment script. We offer all of our scripts on our private Facebook group. Again, Anna has that link in there. We give it all away for free. Go check it out. It's a game changer, but I'm practicing that. If I'm going on a listing appointment, then I'm looking at all my listing objection scripts. If I'm just straight up cold calling expireds that day, I'm knocking out my expired script. Got to get good at these things. Then thank yous. So now in my little station, I have a set of cards, envelopes, stamps, addresses, my phone, my contact book, 2 thank you or thinking of you note cards every single morning. Now I'll tell you where I had some issues with this is for a while I would do it and then I didn't have the stamps right there. So it was holding up my process because I wouldn't have stamps. You literally just have to have everything removed from holding you up and have the stamps there, your address book, everything ready right there so nothing can stop you and you can just go right to it. Okay? It's a game changer. It's all about gratitude. It's all about every morning getting that piece out of me. And I think it's one of the things that keeps me the most motivated because then it really made me realize how many great people I work with and how much I really do appreciate everything that they do and how many cool clients. Every time a client refers me business, beautiful handwritten note card directly from me. We send another package and on top of that. But thank you so much for giving me that love. I appreciate it. Exercise. All right. So 20 minutes minimum of exercise. Okay. 20 minutes. This could be you jogging in place, jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, whatever it is for 20 minutes minimum. Now, I would prefer, and I'll tell you about this last part, if you're doing your exercise, you can also combine your reading and your YouTube, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, at the same time. All right. So 20 minutes of exercise. Now, I do an hour because I can't, 20 minutes is just not enough because I eat like garbage. And if I didn't, I would be extremely fat. I love nachos. I love all these things. I have to do an hour to stay within balance. Some people might be a healthier diet. You only need 20 minutes. You can play with that number and then decide how early you need to get up. Then reading, okay? Now reading, of course, we've got to get our knowledge based up. So 5 minutes of reading. You're like, Brendan, what am I going to read in 5 minutes? If it's a page, 2 pages, or it's an Audible book, you don't have to just do I'm just saying that's the minimum. If you read 1 page a day or 2 pages a day, it's a game changer for most people that aren't even doing that now. So if you want to do 10 minutes of reading, make the combination right for you. I'm just telling you the minimums. Okay. And then YouTube. If I can tell you guys the biggest game changer in my entire life that changed my game was from every morning watching Vikings on Netflix to watching an informational or motivational YouTube video. So I'm on the treadmill, and every single day I have all the coaching channels up. I have TED Talks up. I have everything. Tony Robbins, from Tony Robbins to so many different things you can learn and get what I call YouTube certified, right? We've all done that. Now, the only time I tell you where YouTube certification is risky was I watched a YouTube video to learn how to do a Hobie cat when I was in Belize, and that did not translate. I had to get towed back in because I could not figure out how to use that Hobie cat. Almost died, thought I was going to go out to sea. So don't get YouTube certified and try to go do a Hobie cat. You will be at risk. Don't do that, right? But if I wanted to get better at goal setting, I might watch videos on goal setting. If I want to get better at scripts and dialogues, listing presentation, buyer presentation, interior design presentation, staging, it's all there by masters for free. So YouTube is a game changer, a game changer. Okay. Then you subscribe, you set up your alarms, and it becomes a habit. So that's what your morning looks like. Mastery. What are you willing to change in your life to change your life? Do what others won't to have what others want. Okay? Now you've crushed your morning. You're like, I am the greatest person on earth. No one can touch me. I'm amazing. You're all jazzed up about your affirmations. Well, now you need a daily schedule. This is the top producing schedule that not only myself uses, that I've used, it's all the top producing agents I know across the country. And again, here comes that devil. Brendan, that's not going to work for me. I've got to drop off the kids at daycare at me. Brendan, that's not going to work for me because my business is me. I understand you have different responsibilities than I have. You can make slight tweaks to this, but at the same time, the principles are still the same. You follow this structure every single day, no one can touch you. So, first of all, we have to realize that our work schedule is based on 220 days a year. Why 220 days? Because we don't work 7 days a week. So we work Monday through Friday, 44 weeks a year. That allows me vacation, 3 weeks of vacation, and 3 weeks of educational conferences, and 2 weeks for holidays. Now, people are like, isn't a vacation a holiday? No. A holiday is 4th of July weekend, you have 3 days off. That's a holiday. A vacation is I'm in another country having the best time of my life, flying first class, staying at a first class resort, enjoying first class beverages. That's the difference, right? Instead of me going to the biggest ball of twine in Arizona. Do what you want, but that's not for me, okay? So my schedule will consist of the following: 7:30 to 7:45, review scripts, role play, review my goals, and recite my affirmations again out loud. My next call is going to be my next appointment. My next call is going to be my next listing. My next call is going to be, that's a great affirmation, okay? 7:45 to 10:45, prospect lead gen, right? So again, you don't have to cold call. If you're like, Brendan, I'm just not going to cold call, you can stick that right up your, you know what, then don't. I don't care. That's not a problem with me, but you still need to be having conversations and targeting a group to turn into Mets so you can make this entire process work at the highest level. So 7:45 to 10:45, we're in lead generation mode, conversations about real estate mode. And we have our tracking sheet out and we're just going boop, boop, boop. Every no, almost a yes. Every time I get paid this. And you're just going one after another, laughing all the way to the bank because you just hear cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Now, here's the problem. When you start doing this, and I know there's people on this call, they go, Brendan, I've been making the calls. I've been doing exactly what you said. But man, this sucks and this is hard. I think it's not for me. Right when you get to that point of saying it's not for me is right where that tipping point was, where it was all about to start paying off. It's where all the gains. If I'm 500 pounds and I go work out for 3 weeks, I'm not going to be 180 pounds. It's just not humanly possible. It will not work. It's going to take time to get that down to those points, right? If I want to bench press 500 pounds, I've got to start out with 50. If I try to go bench press 500 pounds, the thing's going to jack me up, and crush my sternum, and I'm going to die. I got to build up to it. That's what this is all about. People quit right at that uncomfortable level. I use the analogy, think about this, your internal thermostat. I constantly think about this, and you'll start thinking about this every time you go to turn up the temperature in your house or on your car or anything like that. Every time we are guided by uncomfortableness, where the most successful people make the most money is on their internal thermostat. If you're comfortable at 70 degrees, you turn that baby up to 80 and you go, ooh, it's too hot in here. Man, I don't like this. It's too hot. The first thing you do in your brain is you go, pull that baby down to 70 degrees. I better chill out. The people that have extraordinary lives live at 80, 81, 82, 83, 84 until that temperature becomes comfortable. So where are you at every day on your internal thermostat? What are you willing to turn up? Or what are you willing to sacrifice and turn down and be average? That's what you have to think about. So 10:45 to 11, take a break, right? Go out, walk around, get some fresh air, watch some Sports Center, whatever it is you're into, do whatever it is, have a laugh. Come back 11 to 12, lead follow-up. Put your leads into your system because now you've done all this lead generation. I've got to put all my notes in to make sure that I'm doing my nurture process to make sure everybody in my 33 touch program is being touched. 12 to 12:30, role play. So if you see on here 2 different times of role play a day, because you have to become a better sales person, a better negotiator, a better psychologist, a better presenter. All of that happens twice a day. 12:30 to 1:30, enjoy lunch. Have a nice lunch. Enjoy your life. And then the remaining of the day from 1:30 until 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, depending on how you're working your schedule, you go on appointments. You go on appointments. You sign agreements. Okay? Now, the game changer for your life, another pro tip. For the rest of your life, if you just want to double your business right now, you want a diet pill, I'm going to give you that diet pill. You, from here on out, the rest of your life, you never schedule any appointments before 12 o'clock. Ever. You never, ever, ever again schedule an appointment. But Brendan, my clients will only see a property at 10 o'clock. What am I going to do? That's not true. That's a limiting belief in your mind. When I call up my doctor, he doesn't go, hey, Brendan, yeah, just come in whenever you want and I'll take care of you. No, it doesn't really work that way, right? You have to control your morning lead gen and lead follow-up to get out of the real estate roller coaster or the business roller coaster every single day. You can go like this. I'm a very talented, again, I'll use the interior designer. I'm a super talented interior designer. People love me. They love my product. Cool. If you don't lead gen in the morning or market to people or do anything to create that business, no one ever gets to experience that. It's the same thing in real estate. Now, if you don't have any appointments in the afternoon, what do? You get back to lead generation. You get back to working on your business. You get back to being a successful business person so that you make appointments. So appointments then become created for you. Now, if we go back to those commitments, they're all self-reported except for signed and for closed. Those are the ones you can't really lie about, right? Or not lie about, not be honest with yourself about. So fall in love with those 2 numbers. If you know all you need to do this month is have 6 signed, then you know this week, if you don't have at least 2 or 1 or whatever your number is, you're off track. So you got to double down on the weekend or you got to double down on the next session. All right. One more pro tip that I'm going to give you. Saturday and Sunday is your Monday. If you want to double your business right now as fast as humanly possible, you change your schedule to adapt to when other people aren't competing against you and when your client base is home. Well, Brendan, what do you mean? You work Saturdays and Sundays, full days, not, oh, I work an open house on a Sunday for 3 hours. No, you work different days. And I'm not saying you have to do every Saturday and Sunday. Start out with once a month. Once a month, you do one Saturday and Sunday in that month. And you call everybody that's home and not stressed out. What's the point of lead genning every single day at 9:30 when you know that they're at work, they're stressed out, they're dealing with all this stuff? Still do it. I'm not saying don't do it, but it's a lot easier of a conversation when they're at home chilling, right? Or they're not stressed out. Or if you're calling expireds, if you know that all these agents are calling expireds Monday through Friday, why wouldn't you just nail them on Saturdays and Sundays and for sell by owners on Saturdays and Sundays when nobody else is calling? Do what others won't to have what others want. But Brendan, you don't understand. My kids are home on the weekend and so is my husband. Okay, I get it. Stay with me. Businesses have to make certain sacrifices at certain times to have massive growth. You don't have to do this forever, but if you're asking me what's a pro tip to get me to where I want to go as fast as possible, that's what I would do. I see the same couple of people at the office every weekend, anytime I'm ever there. And it's the people that are normally making an enormous amount of money. Or the people that are really striving to start out, that they know they're going to make an enormous amount of money, but they're just not there yet. And I'm like, God, I love that guy and gal the most. I'm like, you're this close to the tipping point of all of this just pouring in for you. Do you want a top producer schedule or do you want an average schedule? All right. Personal accountability with super bouncy balls. Switching gears here. You're like, cool, Brendan, super bouncy balls. Sounds like an awesome idea, right? So if I'm looking at things, I know that my mind works either by visual, depending upon who you are, how you look at certain things is how you basically are going to motivate yourself daily to have success. So super bouncy balls in a jar. If I know that my key performance indicator is I need X amount of agreements signed every week to hit my goals. So for us, right? So for every single week in the Bardic group at Keller Williams Real Estate, I know that we have to have, for us to hit our numbers, we have to have 50 signed for the entire month. 50 signed for us turns into 30 closed sales, which 12 times 3 is 360 closed sales for this year, which is what we're on track to do because of our visual goals, right? So if I'm looking at those things, I'm saying on a weekly basis, because I want to attack every week by a week, I'm just taking the 50 that I need to have, and I'm saying every week I need to get this amount over here into this jar over here. And as you can see, we already have 4, and it's June 2nd. So I've got to get the rest of these suckers over to here. Otherwise, we don't hit our numbers. So for you, and using your personal visuals, it would be the same thing, depending upon what your target goal is. If yours is X amount of appointments signed this week, whether you use super bouncy balls, whether you use pins and you're moving, you know that this week you need to have X amount of contacts, make it fun. And all you're doing mentally is having success and training your brain going, every time I move this ball over to the other jar, I'm one step closer to my big why. I'm one ball closer to having the life that I want. I'm one ball closer to putting my kids through college. I'm one ball closer to getting my charity this amount of money. You see what I'm saying? So make it visual, make it fun. You could write on these jars. You could be like, my big why, all I have to do is move this to this, my commitments versus my goals. So the one jar is your goals, right? The other jar is your commitments. You're just getting one to the other. That's all you're doing. So think about that every single day. We have to trick our brain and train our mind. And then how are you going to celebrate? What are those wins? So when you get all the balls into the other jar, what happens? Do you get to go play golf? Do you get to go to the spa? Do you get to go to Vegas, depending upon what those balls represent? Now, some of us already celebrate too much, and that's already a problem, right? So if you already over celebrate, then chill out, because you need to make some money so you can have better celebrations. But basically make sure that you're looking at the visual of this, and it'll make sure that you can every single day have a measuring stick of if you're on track or not. All right, so let's take a break here for just a second. All of this doesn't matter if you don't take any action. So what I'd love to do is in the comment box, and we do this every class, or if you want to unmute or raise your hand or whatever the fun Zoom things that we can do, after everything you've learned thus far, what is just one single action you're going to take away and do today? Anna, what do we got?
All right. So it looks like biggest takeaway, create a visual accountability measuring tool. Also, no appointments before noon. That's a great one. Work when others do not. Work weekends.
Yeah, I can see him now. So
Yeah,
Paul, Paul's saying, look, I'm going to work when others do not. Work the weekends. And I know that people still have an issue with this one because they're just like, but you don't understand, Brendan. That's not what my life is. I have XYZ responsibilities. I understand that. Landon, I'm going to hit 40 contacts. Cole, follow the morning mastery. Cole, it's a game changer. And here's the thing with morning mastery, Cole. It's not like day one, you're just going to crush it. You're going to get up and you're going to be like, you might do 2 or 3 of those. And I'm not saying you won't, Cole might just be a killer and hits all of them. There was a few that it took me a while to get them really into habit, but it became a little by little by little to the point where I was addicted to it and I couldn't not do it anymore. And then people are like, well, do you do it on the weekends? The answer is yes. It's probably better on the weekends because I don't have the stress of having to be done at a certain time. I actually enjoy it quite a bit more because right now I'm like, it's literally minute to minute to minute. I'm like clock. Because if I don't, and also my morning mastery includes piano practice, which is a whole nother pain in my wazoo. But I also had to fit in time for piano practice. Okay. You might want to learn a foreign language. You might want to do these things. It's a lot easier to do it. I know some of you go, well, Brendan, I go to the gym at night. That's just my thing. I go to the gym at night. Awesome. There's not a lot of us that can do that because our days are so exhausting. And if you're going on appointments and doing all this, by the end of the day, the last thing on earth I have the energy to do is go to the gym. So I got to get it done in the morning. The last thing I used to do piano practice at night, impossible. At the end of the day, I'm like, all I want is that dang Crown and ginger ale. And that's a bad thing, but it's a good thing, right? And I'm like, the last thing I'm going to do is open up that piano cover and try to play Jingle Bells because my left hand is worthless. It's the last thing I'm going to do. But in the morning, I have the energy to try to do that. So Cecilia, being average sucks. I love it. That is correct. Tracy, so commit to morning mastery, learn how to meditate. Another quick thing I'll just mention on the meditation. I get it. Meditation I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to be that guy. I was like, that's super new age, whatever it is. What it taught me is that we have to have clarity and calm to be able to focus on what we really want from this world. And if just 10 minutes a day is going to help me provide that and cut out all of the chaos and the COVID and the riots and the drama and the fact that I'm not making the money that I want, and the fact that somebody quit my team the other day, and somebody did this, and somebody all that stuff. It's a lot. You guys are all amazing, successful entrepreneurs, and you're dealing with a massive amount of stress that whether you know or don't know, and it's affecting you daily. So train your brain the same way you would. Again, you want to have 6-pack abs. You really want to have a 6-pack brain. So take the time to develop it. It'll be a game changer. So, well, excellent. As I said, I'm going to keep us right on time. I thank all of you for making this commitment. We are doing the wonderful contest. So I think Anna will still put the link up there. All you got to do, fill out this page, post it on our Facebook page. You will be entered to win the $250 Visa gift card, which you could spend on your haven't met bucket. Right? You could buy some postcards, some note cards, whatever it is you want, or take one of your Mets to dinner, of course, social distancing, or send one of your Mets a really nice gift. You could do all of that with that $250. Just take the first step and fill out the sheet. Take the first step and commit to your goals and to your future. So I'll stick around for a few minutes, answer any personal questions that you have or anything that, well, maybe not personal. I'll answer any questions that you have. But I love you guys. I thrive off your passion. If you found anything useful here, please leave us a review. Please give us a like. We have an amazing YouTube page. Check out what we're doing. We're going to teach a class every week from 9:30 to 11 on Tuesday for the rest of my life, right? I don't know if that's a true statement, but it sounds true right now. For at least the foreseeable future, 9:30 to 11, I'm going to be giving you everything I know to make sure that you're going to have massive success. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, if you stick around, I'll answer any questions you have.
Oh, Cecilia's got a good one. What do you use for guided meditation?
Yeah, so I use the Calm app. It's a game changer for me. There's some other apps out there. So yeah, every morning I have the Calm app that comes right up on my phone. I think they give you like a month free or something to try it. There's a couple of different ones out there, but every single day they have different versions. So if you're suffering from anxiety, if you're wanting to learn how to meditate, I went through a 30-day course on just learning how to meditate that I thought was extremely valuable. It's a game changer. Then, as I said, once I take the app, I switch it over to music, right? And now you've got Disney Peaceful Piano. That's a new addition. I don't know. I'm probably not going to use that one, but if you're into Disney, good for you. But I click on that. So I literally just click on the music. Then I go to my clock. You can see my timer's already set for 5 minutes. I just hit start and I start going through close my eyes and I go through my affirmations. What time do you go to bed to wake up at 4:30? Right around 9:30. So every single night, unless I'm out partying with all my homies, it's about 9:30. But for the most part, yeah. And there's time. I mean, I love to have a good time. People that know me from this call, I mean, that is who I am.
True.
But yeah, on a school night, it's usually 9:30. Canceling Netflix for the Calm app. Yeah, that's the big thing. Cancel Netflix and just fall in love with that YouTube channel. For me, it was really, I had a smart TV and I had to have the Apple TV to do this because my smart TV was just making YouTube such a pain. So if you have a smart TV and you're not having a good connection, the Apple TV will change that entire thing and you'll save all your history, the favorite channels that you like. If you want to learn how to become a gourmet chef, you could learn how to become a gourmet chef every morning from watching a 20-minute YouTube video 5 days a week. Think about how much instruction you're receiving every single day, every single morning for just 20 minutes. Cool. What time do you wake up to work out 60 minutes in the morning? 4:30. So for me, it's 4:30. So 4:30, go downstairs, start the entire process, blanket, headphones, water, light the candle. I think that's everything. Yeah. And then I just go through that scenario. Simple as that. I do all of the other pieces except for YouTube and reading. The reading I actually accomplish by Audible books, either on the way to the office or in the shower. So I just have that cranking because, again, for me, it was just I'm a more Audible learner. But if you have your book sitting right next to your little area, you could do it that way as well. But yeah, so I think that answered most of the questions. Is that correct, Anna?
Yep, that's right.
Well, awesome. Well, again, you guys, I can't thank you enough. Proud of all of you for being a part of this. And if there's anything I can ever do, please reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to help.